to our program in a nutshell. I'm Bob Savikanis. Today we have two very special guests, actually returning guests, because we have that annual event that everyone looks forward to in downtown Scranton called the Scranton Jazz Festival. So today I'd like to welcome Marcinko, legendary musician, and Sarah Effertz. Welcome to our program today, and let's talk about the great event that's going to be upcoming on August 4th, 5th, and 6th. Marko, take it away and tell us about the Jazz Festival.
Well, we are back again, and we're always thankful to be here at ECTV and make the association of telling you and the city of Scranton about our wonderful festival. We're in 18 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're an adult. The festival has become an adult. So it's going to be a wonderful August 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's always the first weekend of August. And we have over 90 musicians participating. We have jazz, blues, world beat music. We have some amazing headliners and the 10-time Grammy Award winning Gospel Hall of Famers, Take Six, a cappella vocal group, will be our headliner at the Lackawanna College Theater on August 5th. So that's one of the many things that anyone who comes to the festival will be able to see. And we have a website, of course, scrantonjazzfestival.org. And if you go there, you could see the whole schedule for Friday, the whole schedule for Saturday, the whole schedule for Sunday. It's just 3 days of amazing, amazing art.
Sounds like there's going to be great opportunities to hear wonderful, fantastic music. Sarah, what is it like trying to piece all this together? I mean, I guess you have the whole year to prepare for it and for those 3 big days. So what's it like piecing it and getting it all together?
Well, I would equate it to a big game of Tetris.
Okay.
There's a lot of moving parts, and now, granted, as Marko mentioned, we're in our 18th year, so we have the formula. We have some of our usual suspects supporting our local and regional artists, and it's tying everybody in together, getting our community partners on board year after year, which we've seen some amazing support, and that continues to grow. And then, comes the next phase of getting enough staff and volunteers and, getting our marketing out the door. So it's a handful. It's a labor of love, and we look forward to it every year because we always know it's going to be a fantastic weekend with, new people attending, new exposure for musicians, and it's a wild ride.
And it's an awesome event for our downtown because it brings great economic development to so many businesses. Because if you go to the website and you see the schedule, you'll see over 22 participating venues. And what does that mean? That means you get a map, you look at the musicians that are playing or the styles of music that are playing at various venues, and then you plot out your night where you want to go. At 6 o'clock, I want to be at this venue. At 7 o'clock, I want to be at another venue. And it goes all the way up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's pretty amazing that the entire downtown has that much music, live music happening in one, 2, 3 days,
And if I remember correctly, it looks like it's being tied in with the First Friday Downtown Art Walk. Am I correct on that as well?
Yeah, we always do that.
Yeah, we've always partnered with First Friday, and that camaraderie and support just basically expands that traditional event that happens every month.
So for those viewers who may be not that familiar with the Jazz Festival, and that's hard to believe, but anything's possible. So kind of just give us an overview. What can somebody expect on a Friday? They're maybe doing the First Friday Art Walk or something. All of a sudden they start encountering musicians, jazz music. Give us a little bit of an outline of what it looks like for that weekend.
Well, it's a good question because I've heard it said a few different ways, but the way that I feel about it is if you've ever gone to New Orleans, if you've ever gone to the Village in New York in its heyday, anywhere that you walked, you heard music playing. There's so many clubs. People are in the street. There's socializing. There's food. There's just a great, lively atmosphere. And that's what this festival is about. People could go from one place to another. Places could be right next door to each other or a block away from each other. But you just see streams of people moving around, and kind of reminds me of a weekend like a New Orleans type of sort of walk. We call it the Jazz Walk in that respect.
But no matter where you go in downtown Scranton that weekend, music is just spilling out into the streets. And you can't not hear it.
We even have it in the streets.
We even have it in the streets.
We have groups that are playing on sidewalks and in little nooks and crannies, like over at Adezo. We have the group that'll play outside in that little cove. area in the alleyway, Center Street alleyway. We have the
Cultural Center.
the cultural center on the sidewalk. We have the 500 block of Lackawanna Renaissance in that little open courtyard area. We'll have live music there in front of the Recovery Bank on the sidewalk. We'll have live music there underneath the Ritz marquee. Outside, live music. So
One of my favorite parts of all of that too is the traveling part with one of the brass bands.
Yeah.
As they go from one venue to the next on the same evening, they're playing as they're going. So how often in downtown Scranton, often do you get to be walking around town and you hear this brass band that's just playing as they go, and you can follow them and create a parade if you wanted to.
It almost makes you feel like you're in New Orleans, as
Absolutely.
you said.
Yeah.
Gives you that
Just-
same vibe.
Just going back to that comment you made, Marko, earlier about New York City, New Orleans. I mean, how proud can you be to say that Scranton is almost on those levels of those major cities this weekend with that major event?
I'm very happy to say that, Scranton, Pennsylvania is Scranton, Pennsylvania for all the reasons that we know it, but we're trying to make a contribution with our 18 years to give another dimension to it. And if this weekend brings more people to our city and they get the same kind of wonderful world-class entertainment that they would get in New York or in New Orleans or in Washington, D.C. or L.A. or anywhere else, why not do it here in Scranton? And that's what it's about.
So let me do it almost as a follow-up to say, so 18 years you've been doing this.
Yeah.
What drives you this 18th year later to say we're going to make it better than we did the prior 17 years or something?
Go ahead, Sarah.
That's all you.
Okay, so
I'm gonna let you take that stage.
we always try to, each year, think about something else that's going to stretch us just a little bit more. Because like in jazz music, a jazz musician isn't satisfied with one particular solo he or she might do on the given moment. You listen back, I could have did this a little bit better. I could have did this. We're critical in some ways. And we stretch the boundaries as jazz musicians. That's the whole idea of improvisation, is to stretch out a little bit more on something that's a given melody or chord changes. So from a business standpoint, from a festival standpoint, from an artistic standpoint, we look at this afterwards. We looked at our 17th year and it was like, this was great. This was incredible. Do you remember this? Do you remember? What could we do better? And we always have that evaluation. And this year we bring something new to the table. We added another theater venue. Besides having the Ritz Theater on Wyoming Avenue as a major theater venue, we added the Lackawanna College Theater as a major venue. And hopefully going forward, we're going to add another theater or another kind of place. And then we try to bring one year we had fireworks, right?
We
That
did.
was a dimension that we brought in. We're going to have vendors coming this year as part of First Friday. So we're going to have jewelry, pottery, and various type of artisans on the
Yes.
square.
Yeah,
That'll be something.
so those vendor artists are actually in partnership with Lackawanna Market and with the Lackawanna County. And so they have been wonderful to add that element. They've done it in the past on other First Fridays. And so we just recently partnered with them, give some music down there, and then just give people an additional experience. In addition to that, we will have the trolleys again this year, which was new last year for the first time. The trolleys running the circuit, which is a nice touch, right? It's a nice element to the event, but most importantly, it helps enable the festival to be more accessible as well. So if you're all the way up, at the Radisson on Lackawanna Avenue, and you want to get down to Penn Avenue, to AV or one of those, it's a good couple blocks. You may not be wanting to do that, or you may be getting tired, but it also cuts down the time in between the acts. If you're trying to hustle, say, oh, I want to get there, for this one when they start, that one when they start. And it's just a nice way to move about the city. So we're thankful to Colts, for that addition and their support with that.
You mentioned the Radisson, and I know it's like what a grand building it is,
Yeah.
and they've been involved from the very, very
Yeah.
beginnings. What is going on at the Radisson this year for the Jazz Festival then?
Well, it's always been like a kind of home base hub for us, because for so many years we used a train shed in the back where we built and constructed a huge stage with a proscenium arch and lighting and sound
See, you have the
system.
history. That's why we're asking for
Right. So we're using the RAD because we're stretched out throughout the downtown. And I should say, one of the reasons why we had to do that was in 2020, we had COVID and we had the pandemic and we weren't able to do all the kind of gathering in one place that we used to do. So we had to take a year off, and then the following year we had to reinvent, and that's how it kind of spilled out more into the downtown, and it's stretching and growing. The Radisson at Trax Patio has always been a major staple, and when you make that turn coming around the corner, you know, on Lackawanna, and you look right at that patio area, it's packed with people. There's a live band there. It's lit really beautifully. It's just awesome. We also we do our merchandise, you know, we house our merchandise and a lot of our business there at the Radisson. We use the hotel, of course, for the artists that are coming in from out of town. We use the hotel room. So the Radisson is like a very important. And this year on Sunday, we're having an after party at the Radisson on the patio. That's a new addition. Yeah, that's a new addition.
It just continues to grow more and more.
Yeah,
it
just
sounds like.
you know, little things here and there just to make the tree fuller, you know, the jazz tree fuller.
It was mentioned Lackawanna College that there'll be an event there this year. Sarah, do you want to maybe give us a little details on what that is?
Absolutely. So it's at the People's Security Bank Theater, and that is where we're going to house and debut our headliner with Take Six.
Okay.
And you know, we're really excited about adding that venue to the list, you know, the ever-growing list for the Jazz Festival, and then just supporting the college as well, and being on that footprint. But also being able to accommodate Take Six, because they have a huge draw. You know, we want to see everybody from every corner coming out to see the show. They don't want to miss it, and so it's, you know, seats over 1,000 attendees.
So for people
Get
that
your
aren't
tickets.
familiar with Take Six, tell us a little bit about them.
Well, before there were groups like Pentatonics. Before there was movies, you know, like or a TV show, The Sing Off, you know, Pitch Perfect. These kind of amazing, even Glee, I would say. Prior to all of that, this group comes out of nowhere and just knocks the industry on its side, and that's Take Six. The mouth percussion, bass singing, the harmonies, the arrangements are all setting the stage for what I just mentioned, of these other type of movies, TV shows, and groups that people might be familiar with. Just go on YouTube and look up Take Six. There's just an onslaught, just albums and videos and everything. These guys, Quincy Jones, there's a quote in their press release, the baddest cats I've ever heard singing in my life. And it's true, because when you hear them, it's pretty amazing. Brian McKnight was supposed to be in this group. His brother is one of the founding members of the group. Brian had his solo career, but that's the kind of high quality singing people could expect to hear. So Take Six, man.
Don't want to miss it.
Don't want to miss it.
Amazing.
And I will say this, we had the Manhattan Transfer one year, one of the award-winning, Grammy award-winning vocal groups, one of the best. We had the Four Freshmen last year, another amazing vocal group. We had the New York Voices one year at the Radisson. We've had the best of the best. And now to have Take Six, and I would think that New York Voices, Four Freshmen, and a Manhattan Transfer would all say, Marko, you're getting the best of the best having Take Six, because they're that revered and respected.
So Scranton is getting the best of the best.
Oh, yeah.
For this event.
Oh,
Sarah, kind of recap it a little bit for us, for those who may be tuning in a little bit later or something on the show. So Scranton Jazz Festival, August 4th, 5th, 6th. A couple more details again, if you would go through that again.
Yeah, we kick off Friday night on August 4th, in line with First Friday, as we mentioned, about 6 o'clock, and we'll have music playing throughout the downtown through midnight. And there's staggered times so that you can float from one place to another, catch a little bit here, catch a little bit there, so you don't miss a whole lot. You can really soak up a ton, along with the vendor marketplace on Courthouse Square. Saturday, similar situation with our Jazz Walk, kicking off about 6 p.m., and then the headliner Take Six at Lackawanna Theater. Lackawanna College Theater. But in the afternoon, though, we have the students playing
Yeah,
on Saturday.
we have a whole student component, music education, jazz education. The students will be playing at the mall, the marketplace at Steamtown on that stage in front of the aquarium on Saturday afternoon.
So we technically kick off in the afternoon this time as well. And then Sunday, we have about 5 locations for Sunday brunch, where we're putting musicians in there to enhance the brunch experience, to extend that aspect of the festival in the morning. Those venues can be seen on the website, of course, at scrantonjazzfestival.org. And then we kick it off that night with the Scranton Jazz Festival Big Band with special guest, amazing vocalist, Kathy Cousins. That's going to be at the Ritz Theater as well that evening. And that's the long-standing tradition of this amazing, amazing ensemble of musicians
And
that
I will
Marko's been working with for years.
I will say about the Scranton Jazz Festival Big Band, we've been together many, many, many years, obviously, at least 18 years, playing at the festival. We've expanded our reach by doing a holiday event as well. We do this Jazz Nutcracker Suite. We were nominated for an Emmy Award for it 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. And we take that, amazingly with a lot of pride. The band sounds really good. And when we come into the festival weekend and we close the festival with the big band, there's really, jazz is, you could really round it up in such a way with a big band, with 20 musicians on stage, playing great arrangements, having guest artists appear with the band. It's just a really great way to close the event,
It is.
So we encourage everyone to come to the Ritz Theater on Sunday at 6 o'clock to check out the big band with our special guests. And we have some artists coming in from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Some of the best players from Pittsburgh will be joining us this year. And we'll be doing like a little Steelers sort of thing.
Well, it's definitely time to get your tickets for the Saturday and Sunday night shows.
And where can we get those tickets?
You can get those at scrantonjazzfestival.org.
Okay. So, Marko, you mentioned some students being involved in part of this. Local musicians, how do they feel about the Jazz Festival? Because I know you're so ingrained in our local music scene and everything. Tell us a little bit about what their reactions are, that knowing that year number 18 is starting up again. Then we're going to go to 19, et cetera, et cetera.
Good question. Everyone looks forward to it. They know that it's first weekend of August. They've been doing it for so many years. It's become kind of like,
It's a family reunion.
yeah, it's like, okay, they're going to be appearing at it. So we have a handful of great local jazz musicians. Maybe not a lot of people know that have toured, all over the world, have been on many, many recordings. They live here in the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre area. And gigging, or teaching or doing something, not saying much about themselves, not necessarily promoting themselves, but I think this festival gives an opportunity for the public to witness their talents and see how fortunate we are to have them in our area.
And Sarah, I guess this question I'll direct at you, of course. Bringing all this talent together costs money, costs and things like that. So I know part of you're out there supporting, getting sponsors, things like that. I mean, what is that like to go back, but have such a great track record of saying, okay, we're doing it again this year. We've been doing it for 17 years. This is 18 now and everything. So what's it like dealing with the sponsors, and what are your thoughts on that?
I'd say first and foremost, it's humbling. And we're incredibly grateful and thankful for the support, because we've had different individuals and businesses, companies that have supported us for years, over and over again. And we continue to see new names on that list. So, it's exciting. Again, we're thankful for it. And then without those partnerships, though, without those sponsorships, because we are a nonprofit, and especially last year, 2 years ago, coming back, there was no ticketed event, no ticket sales, so even with that, it covers just a fraction. It may help cover the cost of the headliners. So those donations and those sponsorships really are critical for us to be able to keep the Jazz Festival here in Scranton and do it every single year. Without that, we wouldn't have a home for this. So
It's always amazing, our local businesses, how they always open up to support so many arts-related, education-related nonprofits, things like that. So, just kudos to our local businesses for always supporting all the great things that are done here
Absolutely.
in downtown Scranton and Lackawanna County in general.
Yeah, as Sarah said, we can't do it without sponsorship. Ticket sales will only do so much. and the sponsorship. And I would encourage those that are watching the show, please go to ScrantonJazzFestival.org and just go to the sponsor page. If you want to be an individual sponsor, there's a category there for you. If you have a business or a corporation and you want to be a sponsor, there's a category there for you. But we post all the logos and the names of all of our sponsors. We're very proud to have them, and we run that the entire year. And we put it out on social media, and we talk about it wherever we can. And you know, it's just, again, you can't do it without them.
So Marko, what have you been up to? Let's go on a personal level now. We've talked a lot about the Jazz Festival. It seems like once a year we get together to do the show to talk about the Jazz Festival. You know, we encounter each other throughout the community, here and there in scattered spots, things like that. But you're legendary as far as a musician in our area goes. So what has Marko Marcinko been up to for the last year besides planning another Jazz Festival?
Oh, boy. You always get me with something,
Encapsulated
Bob.
in just a few moments. Tell us all the great stuff
In a few moments, I'm gigging and playing and touring still, working on this festival. We're in the talking and planning stages of hopefully having a jazz festival in the Wilkes-Barre area in the future. I started a beautiful job at Misericordia University. I'm now the director of music performance there, and the university hasn't had music for over 35 years. And the new president, Dr. Dan Myers, and I had a conversation, and I met with some wonderful people, and we're going to start a music program back up again at Misericordia University. Very excited about that, because that'll be a wonderful tie-in for our area to have this. So those are just a couple of things.
How has the music industry responded for performances? I mean, we had the COVID situation that just hit nightclubs and events so hard, and of course it's a few years now in the recovery stages and everything. So what is it like out there performing live again? Are we seeing the crowds coming back and good attendance and everything?
Yeah, things are, I would say pretty much back to normal in a lot of respect.
Good to hear.
I would like to see Scranton have more live music, live bands like it used to pre-pandemic. I think there's still, you know, maybe shaky ground there in that respect. I like this jazz festival for that reason, that in that one weekend we show that you could have so much live music and everyone is responding so great to it. And maybe that's just a little incentive for during the rest of the year to have a little more live music in the downtown.
Re-inspire them. It can be done.
Yeah, because we're such a big, if you look at the newspaper 10, 15 years ago, you know, and you open up the entertainment section, if you remember, you'd see like every place had live music, rock, country, jazz, blues, any sort of thing, you know, so it'd just be nice to have that. We have all the talent here, so.
Obviously, because it's showcased all the time. It's just we need to get more of it back out there again. Sarah, it's same question for you. It's been about a year since I've seen you as well, and officially on our TV program and everything. So what has life been like for Sarah in this last year besides planning this jazz festival every year?
Is there room for anything else, Marko, besides the Jazz Festival?
Well, in your life, you do it all. You got a lot going on.
I do. So I own an event planning company called Blue Elefante Events. So I'm running and working on events all year round within the community and outside of the area. I work a lot with nonprofit organizations, which is my heart, you know, and so it's a lot of fundraising events, a lot of community engagement events, and other musical events as well. So I'm knee deep into that. Gala season kicks off in September, so we can start getting on that circuit. So we've got this, and it's multi-layered with a couple galas coming up, another music concert fundraiser and golf tournaments, things like that. So
A lot of activities.
definitely keep me busy. Weddings, yeah, weddings, some private events. Yeah. So.
Well, I guess let's kind of summarize it all up and say, why should we come to the Jazz Festival on August 4th, 5th, and 6th?
Well, hold on a second. Sarah and I want to ask you the same question. We haven't seen you in about a year or so. So what have you been doing? Bob Savakinas been up to recently?
Well, I've been working on some documentary projects. I just completed one called The Wholesale Block. We debuted that in the spring.
Nice.
About downtown Scranton's wholesale block that existed for almost 100 years. And been working on a few movie projects. Was proud to say I was a part of the Hell House franchise movie with Stephen Cognetti. We did a movie in the Tamaqua area with the producer Jeff Miller from Los Angeles called 12 to Midnight. And we're working locally on a movie, Shadows of the Past, a little local history and horror theme, which we're filming currently in downtown Scranton areas and a little bit outside of Scranton as well. So continuing the arts on my level, on a different level, though.
You've got some exciting stuff going
yeah,
on,
very
too. We
exciting.
can't
A lot
wait
of
to
great
see.
stuff going on in northeastern Pennsylvania and downtown Scranton, I think.
That's awesome.
Just the whole area in general. But those are my updates. So
Good.
Jazz Festival, August 4th, 5th, and 6th. Why are we coming out to it?
We're coming out to it because we want to support our community. We want to have a great weekend. We want to have a great time. We want to go to the downtown and visit a restaurant or a coffee house or a business like Lavish, right? And hang out and socialize and just have a great weekend.
And you want to be able to say, next year when we do this, we're playing our 19th again. And
That's right.
What will happen for the 20th? Any preliminary thoughts on that?
We're working on some good
we
surprises,
have-
All right,
some
we'll
big
keep that
things.
We have
under wraps for now.
Big surprises, yeah.
Well, good, something to look forward to.
Yeah, we're developing too our merchandise line. Should I tell them that? Yeah, we have.
This is a prototype.
A
right?
prototype of the new to-go styrofoam cup that's Scranton Jazz Festival. We're working on this SJF sort of thing, musical notes and what have you.
We might make it a contest. You know, you can submit your votes or
and
submit your designs.
it keeps the coffee so warm.
Does it?
Yeah.
And it's almost customized from what I could tell on it.
Yeah,
so, yes.
Oh, well, that's the thing about what we do. It's very customized. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I want to thank you both for being my guests again. It's wonderful having both of you back again to talk about the 18th annual Scranton Jazz Festival on August 4th, 5th, and 6th. Sarah, Marko, thank you for all
Thank
that you
you
do in
so
our
much.
community and making such great events happen. And want to invite all of our viewers to come out and support the Scranton Jazz Festival. I'm Bob Savikanis. Thank you for tuning into our program in a nutshell.